3AW is football.
Mark Neeld joins us on the boundary, the coach of the Melbourne Football Club. Mark, thanks for your time. I'm sure you probably heard a little bit of that. Your president stuck up for you a little today, and welcome to you, Dr. Peter Larkins, to 3AW's broadcast as well. Great to have you part of our massive day here on the Queen's Birthday weekend. Down to you and Mark Neeld. Doc?
Yeah, thanks, Dwayne. Well, we were listening into that, so I'll go straight into Dwayne's question. You can talk about footy in a minute, but you heard a little bit of that about Don mentioning about Swarter, and I did mention he told Jeff Kennett that his comments weren't welcome. There's a lot happening off the footy field, isn't there, Mark?
Yeah, there is a lot happening off the footy field. And my role is to work out what's going on the footy field. And the stuff that I just heard then, Dwayne, was things that I'm not across, so I won't comment, and I'll have to leave it at that, mate.
Fair enough. Doc, you want to throw one in before the boys up here do?
Well, I was just going to say, talking footy to Mark for a good change, your old side, Collingwood, in one sense, do you look forward to sort of coming up against them with the previous knowledge? I mean, every match is a challenge for the Melbourne at the moment. They're all big challenges, but Collingwood a big one on the Queen's birthday.
Yeah, it is, and the Pies they were in terrific form last week when they played Brisbane, no question about that. But for us, the way that we're approaching it's a great opportunity. We're going to bring 11 guys who haven't quite hit the 50 game mark yet to Queen's birthday and play against a really good footy club, and that's the best sort of development that we believe that we can bring our boys.
So the thrust today, Mark, is to A, win the game, obviously, but in real terms it's unlikely. B, to minimise the damage, or C, to set up a structure that you think will be good for the footy club in 2 to 3 years' time?
A and C, Mike, I reckon. To minimise the damage stuff, I don't like that. And we as a club, look, we could, if you like, go and stick 12 blokes in the back 50. I don't know how we're going to learn through that. And you're quite right. We're going to go flat out and attack the Pies and see if we can beat them.
Okay.
Absolutely no question about that.
When you talk about blokes getting stuck in the back 50, the last 2 weeks, Gerard Healy and I have both been critical of you for parking Jeremy Howe on a wing or in the back half.
Mike, we really like Jeremy Howe on a wing. I think that over time, Jeremy has he's got great potential, which is, I suppose you can still have that when you're under 50 games, but the talent that Jeremy brings to the table, we have great confidence that Jeremy will finish up as a full-time midfielder. We know that he's got that unbelievable ability to take high marks, and with interchange caps and those types of things coming in, we think that he could be a midfielder who goes forward, and the more time that we can give Jeremy the opportunity to get in the midfield, we're going to take it. Jeremy will play in there today, Mike, and it's a great opportunity to go in there against Pendlebury, Swan, Ball, Blair, whoever else. They side bottom these types of guys, and again, it's the greatest, from my point of view, the greatest development that we can give Howie.
Hey, Mark, it's probably your biggest game of the year, the Queen's birthday. You're on the big stage. Do you touch on that with your players of how important it is to perform on a big stage in terms of keeping the game moving forward?
Lottie, we spoke about, the opportunity that it presents, and, finals for us, this is a final, and it's just a really good opportunity to come play at the MCG, not be overawed by the Pies, not be overawed by the crowd, and let's go for as long as we can in the manner that we want to play.
Hey, Mark, we asked you 6 weeks ago who's improved at Melbourne, and you gave the names McDonald and Blease. Where do you think that sits now? Are you happy, or how unhappy are you with the improvement of the players so far this year?
Yeah, well, look, the ones, Lloydie, that walked through the door last November, we're really pleased with. Like, Toompas has got him. We knew that, Jimmy was drafted after a couple of hip operations, those types of things. So he's got himself back the last couple of weeks in the VFL. He's averaged 28 disposals. So he's going to come in, which is great. The other boys a number of the young ones that we drafted at the pointy end, I know that a couple of them play in the VFL. So Hogan yesterday had 7 shots at goal at Casey the other day. He's coming along really well. We've got Dean Kent in. I think it's his 3rd or 4th game. We've got Dean Turlick and Matt Jones. They're in and playing particularly good footy. The 2 boys that you mentioned, Bleasy is a high-end, I'll call him an offensive talent. He's been back in the VFL for a couple of weeks, learning that there's a couple of other components of footy which are really important. He's had half a dozen shots at goal, which is great, and I think Sam's always going to bring that to the table. But add that, the last couple of weeks he's had 16 tackles, and that's something that Bleasy is putting into his game, and we're really keen to get him out here today against Collingwood and see how much pressure he can whack on Heath and Harry when they want to try and run the ball out of the back 50. Tommy, as you know, he comes in today, not probably ideal preparation. He's missed 3 weeks. weeks. He popped his shoulder at training, but with James Frawley not playing, Tom will come down and have a crack at Travis Cloak.
Neeldy, 2 years ago, Jamar Maloney, the best clearance duo in the competition by far. And it's not about Maloney, he's gone. But Jamar, his performances this year, I don't know whether he's been carrying anything, but can you just take us through if you've been happy with Mark Jamar? Because Max Gawn, I thought, showed a couple little things 2 weeks ago, and you might even have to think about going that way. And the other one, just the Howie situation. You only go in the last month 36 times on average. Wouldn't you think you need your talent to play with Mitch Clark out, maybe to score, to put pressure on opposition other than defend first? That's a couple of things.
Yeah, sure. I'll hit the first one. I'll do the
Mark
first
Jamar?
bit. Yeah, the ruckman type. So we've got Jack Fitzpatrick playing, and he'll play forward in the ruck, 200-centimetre young boy that is coming along quite well. We see a big future for Jack. And in Casey, we've got Jake Spencer, and as you said, Max Gawn. Gawn is an interesting one, Shorey. For the first time in his life, he played 6 games in a row, and we know that he's come off a double knee reco. He started to taper a little bit in the AFL, so we've dropped him back for a couple of weeks in the VFL, and he'll certainly look. Max is a confident kid, but he's got some ability to go with that and a reasonable work ethic. And if you like, I suppose a realistic aim for Max is to try and be the number 1 ruckman at the club by the end of the year, and that's fair enough, and we want that. And a really realistic goal for Mark Jamar is to hang on to that mantle. The other one you said with Howie, there's always a couple of ways you can look at things, Shorey. I can say, look, what you said is 100% correct, but there's the other angle is, well, if we're only going to get it in around about 40 times, actually got to try and get him in the game a little bit more.
Or get it in more by him doing it. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'll take that option, at least for the start of the game. But I'll see how we keep getting it in and Dawsey can't mark it, or Watsy's not getting a hold of it. We might have to put Howie in there.
Yep. Mark, you're full of beans, and I can understand that. It's match day. But how were you on Wednesday morning when you were alerted to the David Schwartz story? I mean, you've copped a pounding. Does it get to a point where you just sort of even wonder whether it's worth all the pain?
No, Mike. Look, guys in the media, and everyone has a role to play. They play those roles. In reality, the opinions that I'm really working on day to day are the people that get all the information. And majority of those people are the ones that work inside the footy club. It's as simple as that.
So you don't feel let down when a hero of the footy club is so publicly critical of you?
Well, David Schwartz is a person who works in the media 100% of the time. It's not. Look, it's unhelpful. It was the way that I described it, but that is what it is. I suppose, Mike. It points to our footy club needing to get a hell of a lot better.
Mark, on that note, we appreciate your time. We'll get you go down and dress your boys, and good luck today.
Thanks, Dwayne. Thanks, boys.
3AW is football.